Well, that may have been the most fun I've had watching a football game since the Miami Dolphins game last year, and the Falcons game as well. What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Titans Rundown. I am your host, Micah McCamey, and oh my gosh, today's episode is going to be real fun because it's the preseason week 3 review, and I am really excited to talk about this with y'all. I want to let this be known, this is being recorded on a Monday, so I won't have the 53-man roster beside me or anything. So just wanted to let that be put out there right now. Also, I just want to let this be known. Anybody that is curious why I am not going to talk about it in this episode, obviously it's because roster hasn't come out yet. And I promise you, I will get a video out on Tuesday reacting to the Titans 53-man roster, and I will tell you what I think about it. And I'll tell you who I am shocked about not making the roster, and I'm going to tell you who I think should have made the roster that didn't, and somebody that shouldn't have but did. Okay, so moving on. We got to talk about the elephants in the room, because I am recording this on a Monday. Bombshell of news came out today. Malik Willis was traded to the Green Bay Packers for a 7th-round pick. Now, the Packers did need a backup QB. Sean Clifford was not going to get the job done if he had to go into a game. Same thing with Michael Pratt. Michael Pratt has potential, but he isn't going to go into a game and just be immediately good just like that. It's just not going to happen. Malik going to the Packers, I found this kind of weird personally. I feel like that Jordan Love and Malik don't really match up, and that you just got to do a complete schematic turnover if you're going from Jordan Love to Malik Willis. Because, Jordan Love can run, but he can't run like Malik can. Malik can throw. He can't throw like Jordan Love can. Both of those things combined, it's just it's a weird fit for me. But still, I love Malik. I loved watching him this preseason. He ended off on a high note with the Tennessee Titans. Ran Carthen, I applaud you for getting value out of this dude because it was either this or we cut him. So I was very happy to see that we ended up trading him instead because it would have been heart-crushing to see him get cut. And best part about this thing, Titans fans, we're free from the Malik stands. You know, the ones that are constantly, on Twitter and in YouTube comment sections yapping about how Malik Willis is better than Will Levis. There's no way that the Titans actually are trying to go all in on Will Levis whenever they have Malik Willis. Malik Willis was playing against third stringers and he looked like the best player alive. Levis played against backups and he sucked. Levis didn't suck, but they'll tell you that he sucks because he was only dominating because he was playing against backups when Malik was doing the exact same thing. So, come on now. Okay, so happy to have the Malik fans off of my back, but we got to move on to talk about preseason week 3. Wow, this was a really fun week of football. Let me tell you that. All right, so if y'all don't know how I do this around here, all right, we go over 5 categories. We go over the coaching staff, special teams, offense, defense, and then we go for the player of the game. I'm going to warn you before I get to this episode, my player of the game may be a little bit of a cop-out. Just a little bit. I think that some people will be upset at me for saying that this was player of the game. But you'll understand why whenever I get to it. So, anyway, starting out with the coaching staff, I gave this a 9 out of 10. This was carried by Brian Callahan. Wow. He called a heck of a game, let me tell you that. All 3 QBs were lights out. Jabari Small finally had a really good game. Julius Chestnut looked as solid as ever. Overall, the offense was just clicking that day. And Brian Callahan was making really good play calls. Dude, it was really, really fun to watch. And I feel like that, Callahan is starting to get down how to call plays in the NFL. In that first game, there were obviously some things where it was Joe Burrow can bail me out of this. That 4th and 1 from shotgun, potentially sealed the game. The Bengals' great skill position players and their great quarterback were able to easily bail him out of that in Cincinnati. But in Tennessee, I think that we have some pretty good playmakers, but they're not on the level of the Bengals. That's the truth. So, the truth is he just had to get used to coaching a team that doesn't have just superstar offense right out the gate. I think that we'll have a good offense, but I don't think it'll be superstar caliber. That's just my opinion, though, if I'm being honest. But, the truth is that now that Brian Callahan is comfortable, I'm really excited to see what he does week 1 against the Bears. He'll be able to coach against an experienced defensive mind that did really well in Indianapolis, ironically enough, and has also been consistently improving since he's been head coach of the Chicago Bears. So, really excited to see how that goes, and just, really interested to see week 1. Denard Wilson was still a pretty decent defensive coordinator. Obviously, you can't really point anything out like you could in weeks 1 and 2 because he let up 27 points. But I still think that was a player thing, and I think that he did the best with what he had, which, let's be honest, our defense is pretty dang thin. If somebody goes down, especially in the linebacker core, actually maybe the linebacker core could be a good thing if Gibbons went down and Otis Reese had to go in. Not saying that I wish an injury upon Jack Gibbons, but that. I would rather have Otis Reese in there over Jack Gibbons, but that's just a different conversation for a different time. But if a defensive lineman got hurt, then that defensive line is cooked, especially if it's Sweat or Simmons. Because I like Sebastian Joseph Day. He's a good defensive lineman, but he's not either of those dudes. Even Tavondre Sweat, who's barely done anything in the NFL yet. I'll get to Colt Anderson and the special teams thing, but overall, the coaching staff looked pretty good. Brian Callahan has that aura to him on the sideline. Same thing with Denard Wilson. And it would not shock me if Denard Wilson was gone this time next year. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about special teams. I gave these guys a 7 just because of the fact that it was one play alone, which I'll get to later. Because this would have probably been an 8, probably. Because, my thing is, with an 8, there's nothing, too insanely stand out-ish. With an 8, it's you did really good, but you didn't have anything that was, insane or anything. Something really incredible to point out. That's a 10... and sometimes a 9, depending on what the really incredible thing is. If it's an incredible run, then, I'll give it a 9. But if it's, an incredible pass, a lot of points scored, then I'll give it a 10. But with an 8, it's just, they played really good. They didn't do anything too horrible. But I had to bump it down a number for obvious reasons, which, again, I'll get to. Let's talk about first. Braden Narvison lost the job today. Sorry. Yesterday, as of the time recording this. I hate it for the kid. I really do. But, that was the field goal that would have made it a kicker controversy. If he would have made that 57-yard field goal, he would have made things interesting going into cut day. But he missed it, and now we're going to have to watch Nick Folk this season. So, do with that what you will. But I really hope that the kid gets another chance somewhere else, just not in a division rival. Please no. But, I would love to see him get a chance in, Green Bay, take another one of our players, Green Bay, Los Angeles, one of those places. Give him a shot, see if he can nail other field goals like that, and see how he would do on Sundays. I'm just interested to see how that goes. But anyway, overall, special teams played pretty decently. And we've obviously got to talk about the thing that dragged it down one point. How about that one play where Puka Nakua's brother almost returned a kick for a touchdown? The kick that Braden Narvison missed. Honestly, I was really worried. But, thank goodness Thomas Odukoye was there to make the tackle. And he hustled. He got down there. He was able to kick him out of bounds. And if he doesn't kick him out of bounds there, if he doesn't have that hustle, we do not win this game. I know that sounds like an old head thing, man, you guys ain't got no hustle these days. But, it's the truth. If he doesn't hustle on that play, we lose the game. They would have had 34, we would have had 30. So, just some food for thought. But, either way, again, 7, pretty decent. It's just, they had that one play where it was just like, golly, what are we doing here? So, moving on. Offense. You know what? I don't care. I gave these guys a 10. Okay? Whenever you are a Titans fan, you will understand why I'm giving this a 10. You will understand how this is the first game in 3 years since we played the Miami Dolphins in 2021 at the end of that season to secure the 1 seed. That was the last time that we had a 30-point game. That was the last time that the offense could get anything going. And now we're here 3 years later. We were so close to reaching 1,000 days without having 30 points. And we made it to the day that we could see that the Titans had 30 points. And it was so happy and exciting whenever I first saw that. I almost cried whenever it happened, man. It was an incredible experience. Now, obviously, I shouldn't be getting this hype about a preseason game, but I am, because we scored 30 points. 30 points! And I'm not even discluding preseason. We didn't score 30 in any of those preseason games in 2022 or 2023. It's so refreshing to see the offense finally clicking again. And so fun. As much as I love this dude right here, it's so much fun to see them clicking through the passing game. And not just being ground and pound, we're going to let the defense decide the game. Like, it's just so relieving. But anyway, we got to also talk about this. The first team offense was awesome. Offensive line looked great. Receiver core looked even better. Putting Daniel Brunskill at fullback is a choice, but I do like it, especially whenever we're on the 1 yard line. Tony Pollard looks incredibly explosive, which is shocking. Tajay Spears had one of the most insane hurdles I have seen. And I watched Will Levis's hurdle against the Colts this last year. Trust me, I know about that hurdle. It's my background photo on my school iPad. Like, it's just, it was just shocking to see that in a preseason game. So, all that aside, let's talk about the other things. All 3 quarterbacks played very, very well during this game. Like Malik Willis, who was traded, but this game got him on the map, and this game got him to be traded for some value. He went 3 of 4 with 2 touchdowns. One absolute dart to Bryce Oliver, and another absolute dart to Bryce Oliver. Ironically, both at the same time. But still, it was so relieving to see that. Like, Malik Willis actually making halfway decent throws, What else is there to talk about? There's not that much else to talk about now that I really think about it, though. Overall, it was just a really good day by the offense, and obviously, the big standout thing was that they scored 30 points, and that all 3 passers were efficient. And Jabari Small had his best game of the preseason, trying to put himself out there for the potential running back 3 or 4 spot. I think it's too late for that now, honestly, but I would have been really happy to see him make the roster. And I would be really happy if I woke up tomorrow morning, final 53-man roster, and Jabari Small is running back 4, or they decided to keep 5. Anyway, let's move on to the defense. I gave these guys an 8. Defense was pretty solid. Denard Wilson still called a pretty decent game. I mean, the defense is still thin, and obviously, I can't really give it like that 9 that it truly deserves because of the fact that we gave up 27 points. Yeah. Obviously, we can win with 27 points being let up. It's just that it will be pretty hard to put up 27 points. I mean, we saw what it was like the past 3 years without 30-point games. If you scored over 30, we were not going to get up there with you, all right? That was the truth. First off, we're going to be praying for Chance Campbell, and we're going to be hoping that he ends up getting well soon. I feel really bad for the guy. He was having a great preseason and a great training camp, and he tore his ACL. It sucks. It really does suck. But I am genuinely hoping that he'll come back next year, fully healthy ACL, with a fire under him to play well and potentially end up competing for that linebacker 1 spot if we haven't figured that out already. Anyway, So, apart from that, though, there was one standout that brought this up to an 8, and that's Mr. Tavondre Sweat. I mean, like, come on now. Dude played very well with the limited snaps that he got. He was a run stopper like we expected, and he was definitely absorbing double teams really well, to say the least. And let's talk about this, too. He was absorbing double teams, he was still getting tackles for loss, and he didn't even have Big Jeff by his side. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I didn't see him out on the field yesterday as of the time recording this. Like, he still played that well without Big Jeff by his side. And now that he's going to have Big Jeff by his side in week 1, how on earth do you not expect this roster, or this defensive line specifically, not to just absolutely be really good? Because, like, what's going to happen? You either double team Jeffrey Simmons, who is widely regarded, even as a Titan, as one of the best nose tackles in the NFL, or you double team a 400-pound man. Either way, you're screwed whenever you're leaving one of those dudes one-on-one. If you leave Tavondre Sweat one-on-one, he's just going to run you over. If you leave Jeffrey Simmons one-on-one, he's going to either run you over again as well, or he's just going to hit you with a nice little swim move and get into the pocket. Again, with both of those dudes on the defensive line, possibilities are endless. Anyway, I think I got a little carried away there. But overall, 8 out of 10. Pretty decent showing by the defense, but obviously still could improve. Player of the game. Again, like I said earlier, warning, this may be a cop-out to some people, but I don't care. He gets me the most views, too. Give me Will Levis as player of the game. Now, look, I know that a lot of people will be like, oh, man, your Will Levis bias is shown right now. Like, don't get me wrong. Yes, there is a little bit of Will Levis bias whenever it comes to this. But, like, come on, let's take a look at the stats here. 7 for 8, 118 yards, and led a touchdown and a field goal drive. He made some really nice throws, like that one to Tyler Boyd. And if I can, I'll put it somewhere on the screen right now as I'm talking. But, like, he made that really nice throw to Tyler Boyd. He found Ridley wide open, which, by the way, that connection is going to be legit. Like, I got a feeling that those two dudes are going to reign supreme over parts of the NFL. I'm not going to say the entire NFL, but, like, parts of the NFL whenever they play against some of the teams that they're going to play against. Like, I'm really excited. I'm so excited to see those two get to work together. Offensive line obviously does help. He had a lot of time. And of course, him playing against the second string defense, of course, helps. But that doesn't mean that he still didn't play a good game. He did what he was supposed to do. He wasn't Anthony Richardson, who threw a pick six dang near immediately whenever he went in. Like, it's so fun to watch. And I hope that the people that said that Anthony Richardson was going to be miles ahead of Will Levis this year will take that back. Because the truth is, we don't know that much about either of them, quite honestly. But I will say this, though. Anthony Richardson, everybody was saying pre-draft, oh, he's got to get game experience, and then he'll be really good. And they were saying the same thing about Levis. And then Anthony Richardson plays his first year for like 2 games, doesn't have that much game experience, and everybody's expecting a breakout. But with Will Levis, who showed flashes in those games, and it was able to actually stay healthy, and was able to get game experience, everybody's just like, oh no, he's just going to be really bad. We don't know why, but he's just going to be really bad. Again, overall, some of it's frustrating, but, I'm really happy to see Will Levis doing that. Hopefully, he can outperform Anthony Richardson in the regular season, but we'll just have to see how that works. Okay, so that's the end of today's episode. I got very carried away on some points. That's just the truth, but, I'm really happy that I was able to talk about this because this was a really fun game to watch. And I will see y'all tomorrow whenever I'm talking about the 53-man roster. As in tomorrow, as in I am recording this on Monday. So, again, I'll talk about it whenever it comes out, and I'll give y'all my full breakdown of what I think about this. Okay, so I have Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, all under the Titans Rundown. I suggest y'all go follow those. You get to see a little bit of my personal side, and you also get to see a little bit of my other takes outside of the episodes. So, I hope y'all will go check those out. But anyway, that's going to do it all for me. This has been a rundown of your Tennessee Titans. I love y'all, and tighten up.